beats here.
Don't dive too deep.
I
I'm
feel like,
product. Tell me
yep.
how you chose such fine material.
Yeah, it's just funny that I feel like this is like dominating our podcast lately,
Yeah,
which
dude.
so
It's all right, bro. It comes
right?
in the waves. Now
It
it's
comes
not.
in waves, we go back and forth over here. So coming up with those hoodies, the blank material, it was such a process. First, I thought that I was literally going to have to get like products from China to get it for the right price and all that.
Yeah.
I was so like scared about that and didn't know what to do. I could have done Alibaba, which is something that's like a middleman that tries to hook it up, but it was so confusing. I was fortunate that I finally like got enough courage to hit up a friend from high school that I hadn't talked to in so long, but he's a CEO of a big clothing company. And he got right back to me and he gave me so much good advice. And one of those being 10 recommendations on different clothing manufacturers in the States to go to that were like great for starting out with.
Nice.
And one of them, so we went to a couple different ones that like had great cotton materials and they were nice, but they didn't have that kind of streetwear look of the no cords. And so we ultimately ended up with this company, LA Apparel, Los Angeles Apparel, which is the same guy that started not American Apparel, started American Apparel. And so now he does this wholesale manufacturing thing and it's ethically made. It's the hoodies are kind of streetwear and it's heavy, it's canvas material. It's cool. I mean, at the end of the day, it's my dream to be able to like literally make our own stuff or just get so hands. I want to become like an encyclopedia of materials. But
crazy it's even in LA. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Which by the way, apparently there's a big hub of like manufacturing in LA, more like downtown LA, south of that, Commerce and stuff. They have a lot of big studios, but I know it is intriguing.
What's been going on this week for you?
Dude, well, Valley Mentality, of course. I'm thinking about writing a short, like I texted to you.
Yeah.
About like because now you got me in the mood to do something kind of heavier.
That's the thing, bro. We just balance each other out.
Naturally, we project on the other person.
And you got brightness to you.
Dude, you gotta go against it. You gotta go against it. You're right. Thank you. So yeah, I'm kind of excited about this idea. I talked to Laura Lopez this morning actually, because I think she's gonna do big things soon, is my whole thing. And I'm like,
yeah.
And honestly, she's just talented. So I'm like, I would love to do something where, and I talked to Sophia too. It'd be interesting to do something where like, what about like a couple of TikTokers who like have an abusive relationship behind the scenes and then everything in front of the camera is like so hunky-dory, hilarious, amazing, and behind the scenes it's like toxic, horrible, or something. I don't know. And then the hope is you do it.
Yeah. Not to interrupt, but that's the kind of shit that I really dig in horror, where it's like on the surface it's completely different. The appearance that people put on is completely different from the truth beneath. That's like the most interesting thing to me, bro. And that's basically everything that I do has that. Like you can pick apart everything, and like that's kind of at the core of it all.
It's kind of that twist or that like,
even the short that we shot, the red dress thing, that's got that whole thing,
100%. There was a couple unveilings there, and then at the end there's like that button of the girl comes out in a different color. How's that going, by the way? Any updates on that? Are you been working on other ones?
No updates. I priority wise, the main thing for me was finishing this Fisherman screenplay, which I am finished now, which I'll talk about. But yeah, dude, now I'm finally getting back into edits. I have like 4 edits on my plate to just knock out, but now because I'm not writing, I'm not shooting really that much, it's like full throttle.
That's cool though.
Movement on that. Yeah.
Nice.
But tell me more about, so TikTok stars, abusive relationship behind the scenes. Are you like one of those, you're like a couple, like one of those couple TikTokers?
That crossed my mind already, of course. Yeah, I'd like to look into more if that has actually happened. I mean, of course it's happened, but just if there's anything like interesting and intense to draw upon there.
Dude, it could be interesting, not to pitch, but also
Please.
pitch. In the final moment, it could be something like, you know how they have like all those dances and shit that are
Yep.
coordinated. It's like this whole thing could maybe be like potentially Laura could not want to be a part of this at all, but you're almost like forcing her into this and like making her do the
That's the idea.
dances, learn the dances. It's got to be perfect. It's got to be absolutely perfect. And then she keeps fucking up and maybe you beat her or whatever. And
Yeah.
then the last moment could be like you start the video, you're doing the TikTok, and it's just like a slow push into both of you of like her like smiling, but like also kind of crying.
That is quite the visual. I like that.
Yeah, dude. Just a pitch.
Yeah, the TikTok press record. And
Yeah.
your tear comes.
Like a single tear as she's smiling and doing like all the movements and shit.
Yes. Oh, the juxtaposition. No, totally. Yeah, it goes without saying. We'd be honored for you and Sophia to do any part of
Course,
it.
bro. I mean, dude, I think it'd be really funny too if like you like I could see you like in order to pull this off, you would have to be so deadly serious about how like this is everything. Like she has to get every move of this dance absolutely perfect. Some people could watch it and just think it's like funny as fuck because it's just you like being super intense about a TikTok dance, you know?
Right.
But the way we'll play it is like super. And what I think could be cool is like people might think it's funny, but if we really then like turn up the dial on how fucked up it is, like what you do to her, like maybe you've like branded her with like some kind of you know, like what's that thing you put like a hot poker or whatever, like in a fire or some shit like that. Like you could show like on her skin underneath her shirt or whatever is like all these marks that you've done before.
That's the unveiling. That could be like, oh, you thought he was kind of hard on her at first. Turns out.
Right.
And then, by the way, also, I think already what's coming to mind is why she puts up with it. Maybe it's because they do have so many views. This could be like very topical. They have so many views,
totally,
and they almost feel that. I bet so many people can relate to that are into all that stuff. It's like I want to stop, but like I have this audience. I feel obligated to do it. I make $10,000 a month. Yeah,
that's huge, dude. Bro, I even feel that pressure with like releasing once a week.
Totally. Yeah.
It's that, but also what I think is cool about the concept is like everyone thinks once you get a certain number of views and you have a certain number of followers that like your life is perfect.
Right. Yeah.
Dude, that's never the case. Just do the unveiling and like everyone has shit they're dealing with, you know? But like I think the juxtaposition, like you're saying, of like, you know, the perfect dance and like everyone's favorite couple. And like at the end, like you could see like all the comments and shit. You know,
everyone's favorite couple. That's great. I'm jotting this all down.
All right. Are you thinking that Sophia would write it with you or what?
She said this morning that, of course, she would help out in any way possible. So I'm almost off the top of my head, like, if I have time, why not just fucking jam it, throw it together, and then almost just consult her. Laura said she'd write it with me too at wherever we'd meet up, and just because it'd be a good exercise for her to do.
Yeah, and Laura and I have both wanted to work with each other again since our last thing too. So this will be a good opportunity.
It'd be incredible.
Cool. I love it. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep reporting back to you about
that. Inspired you, bro? Was it just like the fact that we worked on that short or what?
I suppose that planted the seed for sure. And then, but I'm trying to think what it was probably.
You know, this is also that character too of like you going to the dark side of like that, like
100%. And I love even more showing the in front of TikTok's actually a great opportunity. It kind of just hit me today of showing that on the surface,
right,
one thing,
right.
And then behind the scenes, this like really sinister thing.
Dude, and what could be really cool is like you're like generic persona, like your Duke persona that you usually show the world.
Yeah.
That can be your TikTok personality. And then dropping that completely is.
Which, by the way, would be so fun to play because that's not necessarily easy to do that like fun, easygoing persona,
Oh,
and then
bro, and you have to do it like that too.
and
Like you
to
have
do
to
it believably, to do the TikTok stuff. I want to do it something that's kind of fancy, like not just easy to pull off necessarily. I want to make that kind of compelling,
yeah.
and then behind the scenes, like that kind of, I don't know, show that he's a true sociopath. That's like worth
100%. I'd
making.
want you guys to learn like a legit
Me
TikTok
too. Me too.
dance.
That'd be
And have
sick.
it like down to a T before we
Yep.
start shooting.
100%. This is exciting. I think it's got so much potential. You're right. What inspired this? I think also because I was like, wait, why am I not writing something dramatic right now that's like a good vehicle for us? That's it.
Yeah.
And I like the horror spin on it too, obviously. And when you do horror, it's got a better chance of, I think, getting turned into a feature film too.
I agree, dude. I think horror is the only genre that can actually pop like that, where you can go from a short thing to where it gets enough attention. Like you can't, the only guy who, or the only person who does anything other than horror and is massively successful in the short space is Darman. Do you know that guy? He's got like 14 million followers, and it's like these really cheesy, like soap opera things that always have a message at the end. It's like,
Probably worth looking at.
it's like the really typical, like, you pass by like a beggar and you don't give him,
Yeah.
like, whatever, the like
Right.
stereotypical, yeah. And then he ends up becoming like your CEO, and then
Oh, really? That's like a commercial almost. Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's like every single one of them. They're really cheesy, but he puts out a lot of stuff and he has a huge following. But he's the only person that I've seen that's like outside of horror that is actually
Obviously shorts get made into features like all the time. I mean, I think lately it's not that prevalent because most stuff is crap. Like, but I just looked up the other day, like Whiplash started as a short. Went to
it
Sundance.
did, dude.
Yeah.
And
Went to
wasn't
Sundance.
J.K. Simmons in the short?
Went to the short. So that might have had a big thing to do with it of getting so much recognition.
But also, I mean, J.K. was in the business for like decades, but like everyone knew him as this other person. So I feel like it was necessary for him to be in that short for people to see. It's like, yo, this guy is scary.
Oh, that's 100%. Oh, you're saying for him to get that feature film role?
Yeah.
It's a good point. Maybe he wouldn't have gotten that role unless he was in the short. He was a big character actor. He was in Spider-Man and stuff, but
yeah. And State Farm.
Naturally, that was after.
Oh, that was after.
Way after, yeah. Because I don't think he would have done that State Farm stuff if he was
without Whiplash.
Yeah, I think it's because he was so big after getting the Academy Award and stuff that he was able to, like, it's just a different era where now you can kind of do anything, So, but if he was on the come up, I bet he would have figured he wasn't going to get taken seriously enough.
Bro, the reason why I love Whiplash is because it's that like fine line of going too extreme for your craft and like what you really want. And I can identify with that so hard, bro, of just like going really yeah. It's like being so like persistent about a thing is good, but there's definitely like you can go way far with it.
Pushed over the edge.
Yeah.
I like that about it too. Naturally, I truly love the world building of it, that it showed the conservatory classical music world, and this kid who's like, could go to college, but he goes to this music college, and how much passion they had. And and it's like, I thought that was pretty interesting. Miles Teller.
Your conservatory really intense?
It was for sure. Yeah. I just think the nature of acting probably doesn't call for the same you can't measure acting as much as you can measure like, oh, music, you put in like this many hours into it.
Yeah.
Whereas acting, you just like, you can claim anything as acting. So, but the hours were intense. We got there at like 7:30 a.m. and left at like 7 p.m. at night. Yeah.
Bro, that's the thing that I think is tricky about like learning the craft of acting or even directing. But I think acting is like less tangible even than directing. Like as far as making stuff where you're like, I'm getting better, I'm improving. Like I feel like directing is more, you can look at your work and be like, pick it apart and be like, okay, those shots and stuff. You can do this with acting, but like acting is a little tougher to like put your finger on because a lot of like the craft of work at it. Yeah. And it's like all the theories surrounding acting, you can get lost in that to where it's not even having an effect on like your performance. It's not even making you better. It's more like you're just like fucking self luxuriating in your own bullshit of like,
also, yeah. Sorry to cut you off.
no, that's it.
Also, as like a coach, it's like, when do you stop the person in the scene? Like, you don't want to mess with their flow. And is the coach going to write down all those notes about the little thing? And then how do you even articulate whether like, what are they going for? They're trying to nail a technique, or are they trying to nail like the line, right? It's tough. However, and that's what I saw with a lot of bad acting coaches. But at this point, I think, and we've talked about this, I think at the end of the day, the North Star of like what makes a scene good or anything is how close are the performers going to the script? Like, how much are they bringing to reality what's on the page?
Yeah.
And that's, I think, at the end of the day, if you're a director, if you're a coach, you can always say, like, without getting hung up into techniques and all that crap, which is kind of like, just all that is kind of just additional. You can capture the scene perfectly without doing any technique. So it's like, oh, well, on the page it says Johnny nervously yelled at his sister and struck up the courage to yell at his sister, and then said, this line, and then put down his bag. If they're not doing one of those things right, you can say like, hey, dude, the script said to do it this. The script said to do it nervously. You don't have to coach them on how to be nervous, but it's like maybe you could. And then the next thing, so my acting techniques, my acting advice in general, I like to approach it with like a robotic structure. If they're like really not connecting at all, if like nothing's going right, you can literally say, break down the scene or beat or note anything into an A, B, C. Like, are they literally not, did he literally not call the sister out? Like the literal person performing it needs to just do that, like robotically, broad stroke. It could be the most fake thing of all time, but at least are they doing that gesture, right? And then B, and then C. Make sure that all the broad strokes of the scene are done. Then you start to get into the psychology. If he's not really doing it nervously, maybe provoke someone and be like, can you think, they're like having a tough time accessing that nervous, or maybe they're just saying it very fake, like they're reading a line or something. You can literally just be like, okay, first of all, what would that be like in real life? I don't mind line reads. Like, you even give them a line read or show them how to do it, and then maybe they channel that,
Yeah, I really try, because it's not everyone who like doesn't mind line reads. Like that's a huge thing. Like a lot of actors do have a problem with that for whatever reason. I think it's mostly because
you got to work with them a few times till you can
touch
on if they like to do that or not, right?
But that's why I'm really glad I went to acting school, because now I feel like I have the skills to be able to talk to actors and communicate in a way where it's like, okay, because a lot of directors don't have that skill. A lot of directors are like more about the technology and all that shit, and they don't know how to talk to actors. But bro, last week I had an opportunity to go to a talk where it was like for my college, because the kids are out here for summer from Syracuse. And I went to the building. It was like me and like 7 other people talking to like the same number of students who were out there. And so, yeah, it was like me and 7 other actors who were up there at the front, like people who went to Syracuse, graduated. All the other people in the room were still trying to act and do that whole thing. Cool. And it was really eye-opening for me to be in that room and hear the perspective of all the actors, like straight actors being there. A couple of them had like the right mentality in terms of, making your own stuff and like not like waiting for opportunities to come to you, all that kind of, shit. But me, one of the craziest moments was one of the students, like current students, asked the question, when I get on my first film set, how like do I not have imposter syndrome, and how do I like feel like I belong, and I'm really worried about like everyone's going to be looking at me, whatever. And almost everyone up in my row, their advice was like, just know that you're worth it. Like, just believe in yourself 100%. Just you've studied your craft and you're there to do it. All like, I guess, is right. But then it came to me and I told her straight up, I was like, from a director's perspective, 99% of the time, I'm just thinking about shots. And that's the truth. That's the fucking truth. And as soon as I said that, like, yeah, some people started laughing. They were, because they know like it's the truth. And I said, the training that I got from Syracuse, it's like, if an actor isn't where I need them to be, I'm able to talk to them specifically and communicate in a way that I can then get them to where I need them. But I'm like, just think about serving the story. And that's what you're always saying, bro. It's only about serving the story. And then you get out of all that bullshit of like, oh, like everyone's
experience.
100%, bro. And I said, like, I understand from an actor's point of view, if you're on set, you feel like everyone's looking at you. But like, it is really just a small piece in this entire machinery that's like going on right now. It's like all a fucking dance. And I am just thinking about shots, and that's the truth. And I'm sorry if that hurts some feelings, whatever, but like, it's the fact,
No, that's cool that you were able to like come up with that, like when you were speaking at like a college like convention type thing. Cause that, I bet that was pretty refreshing to hear.
Yeah, I think so. Thanks, bro. Yeah, I mean, it was cool to add that perspective that like was just missing, man. I mean, so many. It was really eye-opening for me, because hearing the responses of most of the people in that room, I'm like, that was the mentality of everyone in my class when we graduated, as actors. And we've all done this like conservatory training thing now, and we're all like about, be your best self and like empower yourself, whatever. But it's like, nah, like get rid of all that shit. Just like be there to serve the story in the best way you can. That's it.
Yeah, I won't ever feel like I don't belong on a film set anymore, just because when you get on there, it's like you got to just think, hey, no matter what's going on in your life, what's going on in that set, crazy things can be happening. You can feel like, you don't fit in with the cast, everything. But at the end of the day, it's like, how do I make this story the best it could possibly be in that moment? Like, how do I capture the heart of what the vision was on the page or what the director wants, et cetera, and bring it to life in the best possible way? And I'm very fortunate to have that knowledge now.
Mm-hmm.
Had it when I went onto that Netflix set, had it when I've done all my Lifetime movies, had it when I've done every short film with you. It's like, how do we make this thing the best it could possibly be? It's not personal. It's really not about it. That's the strange thing, is you're the product. So you're an actor for hire, but it's like literally just get on with your time and try to enjoy it. Imposter syndrome. Duh. Yeah. Like that's the paradox of acting, is you don't get to do it much, even though it's like your thing. So it's like,
yeah. Dude, I understand where they're coming from. The thing is, even though I say like I only am thinking about shots, and that's the truth, I at the same time I have so much respect for actors, because I am not interested in being on a set and like putting all of my emotion and feeling into like a character, because that to me, bro, is completely draining, and I know how draining that is. And so I have the utmost respect for any actor who comes on my set, but they should just know that like they can take that pressure off of themselves. I'm not like behind the camera looking at them, judging them for being a shitty actor. I'm like hardly looking at them. I'm mostly just like, they're like a part of the frame, and that's it.
Also, I must say, I have a little page of stuff that I wrote down for myself after being in that good acting class for 2 years. I wrote, and I have it saved on my phone, of my genuine acting tips that supersede everything. And they say, and I meditated on those so much. And the biggest thing overall, it's no technique or anything, is that I will make this thing as great as it could possibly be, and I will bring like joy and inspiration and entertainment to the people watching. that sounds very general, very broad, doesn't tell you how to do any of that stuff. But the point is, I will have a spirit of excellence. Like I will do my best to try to achieve that. Now, if I do that and I take the material that's been given to me, I'm doing a heck of a lot more than most people. So,
dude, and take the energy that you're talking about of like you stepping foot on a set, which I feel, by the way, which helps the mood of everyone on that set. And people love that shit. From like me to the grip, it's like we want people like that on the set because it's hard enough as it is.
totally.
But compare that energy to what you feel like the energy would be from that girl who's like a student who
Right.
comes on the set and has imposter syndrome and is worried about, oh, all we're getting from that isn't thinking that you have imposter syndrome. You're just bringing this like nervous, negative energy to set because you're thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about everyone on set who's trying to make this happen. You're a part of the whole thing.
And unfortunately, that's kind of the norm. That's the standard, is people feeling like they don't belong on sets and stuff. And it's, yeah. And look, there's a bunch of reasons that could be the case. And like, that's fine. I accept that too. I don't judge people that feel the alternatively. I just, same with you. Like, we wish people can get this information of like how you could be empowered to get on set and not have to hold on so tight, but just to like, it's literally just like when you're a kid creating something to be as great as it could possibly be. It's just now the tools are a lot.
That's why we're doing this, bro.
Yeah.
We're messengers of this shit right now.
Other messengers. I'm gonna pull that sheet up, see what other things.
Do it, bro. I want to hear it. One other thing is I have found on my end, even if I'm directing someone else's stuff, I get the insecurity of not having a lot of experience. I think that the only way to really get over that is by getting the experience and by like knowing that you know your shit. And that's why, like, if I take on someone else's script and I'm only directing, what I can always fall back on is the fact that I've made like 60 short films, you know, because that gives me the confidence of like, oh, like for the most part, at the level that I'm at now, I've been on more sets than most people who are on my sets, you know? So there's that. But something else that I found that I'm really digging, especially after, and I'll get more into like writing the Fisherman script.
Yeah.
But when I write my own stuff and then I set foot on the set,
yeah,
bro, this is my world. I created, I am from my mind is the reason why everyone's assembled to make this.
Talk about empowering. That is like, now you're inspired, you're jazzed up. And I think actors need to feel that too. And then it'll make them recognize, oh, how can I do this to other people's writing?
Right.
Go on. Yeah.
Exactly. I think, but I think like being the creator of the entire world is fucking huge. It's another level, bro.
It's a great hook into being creative, to recognizing that creative thing.
Mm-hmm.
But real quick, so I want to hear a lot.
Let me hear him.
Let me hit you with it. It's real quick. It's just classic, so simple. But so you're playing a role in the world. Action, and dialogue come from what would logically happen in that moment of the story. Doesn't matter if it's a commercial, doesn't matter if it's a movie, doesn't matter if it's anything. But instead of hiding behind the lines, you still have to act even when there's no lines. So what would logically happen? This is where you actually start to feel creative. It's no technique. It's no nothing. You have to, as a human being, think about what is going on. What would logically happen? Now do an impression of that. Just act it. Regardless of what I think about the vision, I will bring this story to life in a heartfelt way. That could be one line. That could be anything. Regardless of what I think of the vision, I'm going to do my best to bring out that. That's just good business skills too. Most important questions to ask is, where are we in this world? Ground me here. What does my character want to do next? What's going on? Now commit to this with all my energy, not the lines. I go out of my way to say not the lines, even though, you know, find the logic of the scene. What mood is my character in? How does he feel about what's discussed in the scene? Is he surprised by anything? Those are just like little triggers to start grounding yourself and all that stuff. And that's it. And I say, try to think about that before you do the scene.
I love that, dude. One of my favorites is, regardless of what I think of the vision.
Let's love that.
The director's vision is complete bullshit, and you're still gonna fucking show up and do it.
Hey, I think as a writer, that's big too. And you're doing rewrites, whatever.
Yeah, I agree. That's great,
Hmm.
bro. It's a good list.
Yeah, you
So
practice those for long enough, you'll get creative,
hell yeah. I like that. I like how it cuts through all the bullshit of technique. Um,
right? Thanks.
dude, so I finished The Fisherman screenplay. It was 126 pages, which is the longest screenplay I've written. Most tend to be like 90 about.
It's
So
around 2 hours.
yeah, like 2 hours. And
Dude.
with the action, it might even end up being longer. So ultimately, I might have to trim it a bit, but it's better to have to trim,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
expand.
that's your first draft.
Uh, but dude, I'm very stoked about it. It's made all of the shitty scripts that I've written to this point worth it because I had to get through a bunch of them in order to actually learn the craft of like how to make a compelling, multi-layered story that's really scary and juggling all those things and have characters that you care about, just hitting all the marks of like what makes a compelling screenplay. I feel like this one does it. And the thing that I
Wow.
love most about it is the fact that it has visuals that I've never seen in horror before that are really scary and unique. And I think it'll stick in people's minds like after they finish watching it, which I'm stoked about. So it's cool, man. It's good to be finished another.
What's the next step with it?
Next step with it, I have a few people that I have looking at it, thinking about, this is not a feature that can be made for 50K. This is more in the ballpark of even getting close to 1 million. So it's thinking about, how can we even make this thing a reality? Right now, I'm working on, I have a feature that is set up for November that is going to be around the ballpark of more like 50K. And I think it'll be good to have that one and then potentially using that as a launching pad for this
Cool.
bigger one. So we'll see.
That's intense.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It's good.
Yeah, I'm proud of you. That's amazing.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
What, apart from the short film, are you doing auditions? What do you got going on? How's the nanny gig?
Dude, I appreciate it. Nanny gig is so great, man. I was just thinking today of like that I had to get let go from the Rose restaurant in order to get this. Like my summer would have been like it's just all meant to be. Like my summer would have been so crazy with working at that restaurant right now and not having my weekends and so
This
that's great.
schedule's way better, dude.
Way better. Monday through Friday, like 2 to 6, 2 to 7. Damn, and I'm making enough money. But bro, actually, what I wanted to bring up really badly, I'm listening to this audiobook. Um, it is the follow-up book. So the Social Network. Did you see the Social Network? Did you
Yeah.
like it? Facebook movie?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a minute, but yeah, I did like
Sure.
it.
Have I brought up in this podcast or do you that it's basically my favorite movie?
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I should rewatch it. I'll probably hate it.
Yeah, definitely hate it. It'd be weird if you didn't.
Yeah.
Um, it I've always said the Social Network, like it's funny that people knew it as like the Facebook movie because to me it was something about like it was the most entertaining thing. David Fincher always makes entertaining movies to me. And it
Yeah.
was almost a Shakespearean drama about how one of the biggest inventions in the modern age started in some, insecure kid's dorm room, and he ended up kind of screwing everyone around him out of it.
Yeah.
And then talk about world building. I found it fascinating. The Blue Bloods of New England and Harvard and the Winklevoss brothers that were like, went to the Olympics to row crew and everything. And so after I saw that movie, I read the book, The Accidental Billionaires, which Ben Mesrick, the novel writer, wrote, I think at the same time as Aaron Sorkin wrote the screenplay, but they went back and forth. The book is even better. Maybe it's like the same. But I just love the in-depth backstories of each and every little thing. So it's taken me a long time, but for some reason, I just looked into that novel writer, Ben Mesrick's new thing. I saw that they're making a TV show out of one of his new books, which is it's going to be about the shorting of the market, or not shorting, but the GameStop market thing recently.
Oh yeah.
He did a whole thing on that.
Yeah.
But this book is called Bitcoin Billionaires. It's basically the sequel to the Social Network. It's the Winklevoss brothers, how they rebounded after the Facebook court case, and they were basically non-touchable after that. No one in Silicon Valley wanted to work with them as hedge fund people, or they were angel investors, because Zuckerberg owned Silicon Valley, and no one wanted to work with them. No one wanted to take their money. And how the people that started Bitcoin really hooked them in, and ultimately they became billionaires. The writer Ben Mesrick is so fascinating, and he makes these rich character portrayals, and it's so glib and funny, and captures how in this pool of geniuses, they're all just a bunch of insecure idiots, very human
Right.
at the end of the day, which I love. And but capturing these people from New England who were self-made, and it's all. And the Winklevoss brothers, they went to the Olympics after all that Facebook stuff, and then they made the. So, by the way, I'm reading all this, and it goes back to our thing about like who's the most important creatives. I think the novel writer Ben Mesrick might be more important than David Fincher, because
Right.
these
Right.
books are so, the tone is so fun and
100%.
cool.
100%.
So it is the writing. It is the writing. Anyway, dude, you're probably so busy, but I can't recommend this book enough. And the narrator is great on audiobook too. It's literally called Bitcoin Billionaires. I didn't know the first thing about Bitcoin before this. I'm actually learning a lot about it through this, but more than that, just the story about life and chance and ridiculousness and character portrayals and the New York elite. And it's just hilarious, fascinating. I haven't come across a sick story like this in a long time. It destroys any TV shows I've been watching.
Bro, I love hearing like the rec from you, and it's a hot take, but I'm not going to be able to start a novel right now. There's no way. It's not going to happen. But it sounds great. And let me know how it is when you finish it up too, because I like hearing.
I will. I will. I'll be reporting back every week, of course.
I'm excited about Nope. I haven't seen it yet, but I'll likely see it this week.
Yeah. A lot of hype. Doing really well.
TV. Yeah, bro. What's crazy is I saw this on Monkey Paw's Instagram. They said it is the highest grossing opening weekend original film since Us. So
Really?
Jordan Peele got Us, and they got this. It's like, yeah, it made like 20 mil less, but still, bro, it's the second highest grossing film since Us.
Wait, what type of film is it? The highest? It's not the highest.
Original. It's like original, like comes from like basically original screenplay. It's like not
a superhero.
Or yeah, exactly.
Can't be higher than like Gladiator. Gladiator was original.
You mean 2000?
Yeah,
bro. I'm saying like since they were like since Us, so like from 2019,
got it.
It's the highest. I guess when you break it down, it's not as impressive. It's not like the highest grossing original ever, but within the last like 4 years.
That's an interesting thing that Jordan Peele has made, like, yeah, back to back.
That's a good stat to have as a creator.
I'll say.
Yeah.
I know we got to check it out. All right, bro. It looks like it's coming down to the wire here.
It's always intense, dude. We got about 40 seconds left, but always a pleasure.
Dude, quite the pleasure.
Yes. Thanks for hopping on. Dude, write that short.
I am.
Yeah, I'd like to jump on that. So write it, give me the first draft, and we'll start talking. We'll get Ken looped in. All that.
There we go, baby.
Yeah.
Let's hit it. I'm so excited.
All right, bro. Have a good week. Okay? Thanks for hopping on. Bye.